Right, here is today's question. How can you sustain an in-person practice if you're basically living a dual life, 9 months in one country and 3 months in another? Y'all, this question made me stretch my brain in all the best ways. Before I answer, I'd like to thank Therapy Notes for sponsoring Ask Allison. I've talked about them for years. I know their features by heart. You probably do too. But here's what truly sets them apart. They genuinely care about your experience. It's not just about troubleshooting. They actively implement user-suggested features like therapy search, secure messaging, real-time insurance checks, and their AI notes feature, Therapy Fuel. Everyone at Therapy Notes believes in the product and wants you to love it too. Plus, they're independently owned, which means no venture capital, no pressure to prioritize investors over customers. This independence allows them to keep their prices fair, to focus on innovation, and to prioritize customer experience. With over 100,000 therapists already on board, they've proven you don't have to compromise success for quality. If you're ready to see for yourself, go to therapynotes.com and use coupon code ABUNDANT for 2 free months. All right, back to this question. So I'm going to assume the 9 months are sequential, the 3 months are sequential. So it's like a seasonal migration. If instead they're broken into smaller chunks, it'd be a little easier. You can run your practice as usual and just let folks know you're going to be out of town. But if you're gone for 3 solid months, that's going to take more intention. So I see four potential avenues here. Let's walk through them. The first is to treat it like a sabbatical. This option only works if your practice model supports shorter term therapy. Think solution focused brief therapy, CBT protocols, or even just certain rounds of EMDR that can be wrapped up in a finite amount of time. Here's how it could work. During those 9 months at home, we'll call that home one, you accept new clients, but you stop taking them after a certain cutoff point, maybe 2 to 3 months before your departure. That completely depends on average number of sessions per client. That gives you enough time to bring your current client's treatment to a natural conclusion instead of leaving them hanging. The upside is that clients know what to expect. You can market your work as short-term and focused. You can get uninterrupted months abroad where you don't have to worry about your clinical responsibilities. The challenge, of course, is this is assuming that you are kind of estimating or triaging this client's circumstance appropriately. We don't know everything when they first start with us, so that might be a challenge. Another challenge is income consistency. So you'll likely need to keep marketing while you're away so you can have a pipeline of new clients waiting for you when you return. So think of it like farming, 9 months planting and harvesting, 3 months letting the field mostly rest. Option two would be to go hybrid with virtual work. This is probably the most obvious solution. You're in person for 9 months, you're virtual for three. Many clients are used to hybrid models by now, so it wouldn't be as jarring as it might have been pre-2020. The big caveat here is legal. Make sure you are covered by your licensing board and malpractice insurance when you're physically in another country. It's not about where the client is. Like we know that as long as you're licensed where they are, in the United States, that's usually fine. But if you're in another country, just CYA, see where you are when you're practicing and if that's okay. If you want some inspiration for this, check out episode 628 of the Abundant Practice podcast, where I interview Annie Krajewski. She's a therapist who travels internationally while seeing her US-based clients online. And she's got some really creative solutions for handling things like time zones and scheduling. If you're in the Abundance Party, we have a full training from her too. So if this interests you, do that. If you go this route, be really upfront. The very first client call, that 9 months of the year, we're going to meet in person. 3 months, I'm going to see you virtually. And that transparency, it builds trust. It gives clients the choice about whether or not that model works for them. Option three, adjunctive work. So this one's maybe a little more creative. So let's say you're an EMDR therapist. You could collaborate with local therapists and offer adjunctive services for their clients. So while those clients are in between phases with their primary therapist or their therapist is addressing other goals, they can come to you for really focused trauma processing. It's a win-win. The primary therapist isn't losing their client, and you're offering something valuable but time limited. This model works especially well if you're only in town for part of the year because adjunctive work is naturally more contained. So imagine telling referral sources, I'm available for 9 months to do this deep targeted work that supports, doesn't replace, but supports your ongoing therapy with clients. And that can position you as a specialist rather than somebody who's like in and out. Option four, lean into intensives. And this is honestly my personal favorite suggestion of these if financial stability is top of mind or sustainability is top of mind. Intensives are really perfect for someone living a dual country life because they condense the work. So instead of weekly sessions, you bring clients in for 1 day, 2 day, even multi-day intensives. They get really powerful, immersive experiences. You can schedule them in a way that makes sense for your travel. And here's why it works. Intensive yield higher revenue per hour, so you can potentially make enough in 9 months to comfortably live the rest of the year. Plus, they set you apart. Not every therapist offers them, which can create a niche for you. So if you're curious about this path, check out episode 565 of the Abundant Practice Podcast. Stephanie Feld, who's amazing, does a great kind of overview of intensives. She has a really amazing training inside the Abundance Party that dives into the nuts and bolts of running intensives. And after that training with her, I started getting my stuff together to be able to do them myself. So if you're not already a part of the Abundance Party, where those deeper trainings are with the two people that I mentioned, both Annie and Stephanie, then hop on in. So let's recap though. Sabbatical model, short-term therapy with built-in seasonal breaks. Number two is hybrid model, in-person 9 months, virtual for 3. Third is adjunctive work, collaborate with other therapists for targeted services. And then 4 is intensives, high impact, time efficient work that fits a seasonal schedule. Each of these options has pros and cons. The key is aligning your clinical style, your financial needs, your lifestyle values. And the beautiful part is there's no one right way. You get to design a practice that supports the life you want, not the other way around. So regardless of your choice, you're going to need to start with the fundamentals. The free worksheet this week is niche versus ideal client. This is vital to make marketing as easy as possible because you're working a little bit differently than a typical therapist will with each of these. You're going to need to have a really targeted niche in order to bring people in who aren't going to be bothered by that at all or are excited about that. So DM the word sheets or click the link in the show notes and I will send that your way. All right, have a great day.